If you have ever tried to cut a tiny piece of wood or trim a circuit board with a full-sized saw, you know it is a recipe for disaster. That is where this little machine comes in. It is essentially a desktop workshop shrunk down to the size of a toaster, and honestly, it is surprisingly capable for what it is. The first thing you notice is how compact it feels. It is not going to take over your entire workbench, which is a huge win for anyone working out of a spare bedroom or a cramped garage corner. Under the hood, there is a 100-watt motor that hits about 6,000 rotations per minute. Now, do not expect to rip through thick lumber with this thing. It is strictly for precision work, and the 15mm depth limit is a hard ceiling. If you try to push it past that, the motor is going to let you know it is unhappy. But for model building, small electronics, or crafting, that speed is actually quite impressive. The 7-speed dial is a nice touch, too. It lets you slow things down when you are working with delicate materials that might melt or splinter if you go full throttle. What makes this more than just a saw is the versatility. It comes with a flexible shaft and a bunch of attachments, turning it into a rotary tool for grinding, polishing, and drilling. It is a bit of a Swiss Army knife approach. You get 4 different blades in the box, covering everything from soft wood and plastic to thin metal and PCB boards. Changing them out is straightforward enough, though you will want to keep that hex key handy because you will be using it quite a bit to adjust the blade height. The angle gauge is another feature that feels surprisingly solid for a generic tool. It slides well enough to get those miter cuts right, which is essential if you're doing any kind of detailed assembly. However, it is not all perfect. Because it is so lightweight, you really need to clamp it down or at least keep a firm hand on it. Otherwise, it has a tendency to dance around the table when you are pushing material through. Also, the dust collection is basically non-existent, so be prepared to have a vacuum or a brush nearby. It is not a professional-grade piece of machinery, and it is not meant to be. But if you are tired of struggling with hand saws or trying to balance a Dremel for tasks that really need a stable base, this little setup hits a sweet spot. It is a handy, all-in-one solution for the hobbyist who just wants to get the job done without dragging out the heavy equipment. For the price, it is a surprisingly useful addition to the craft room, provided you keep your expectations realistic regarding the scale of your projects.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.